So now we're into a new year, and this video is really kind of targeted to more beginners in photography, people that are just now picking up a camera or have maybe got their camera for the first time. And what I will say, the basic synopsis of this video is going to be a very quick run through. I'm not going to get into the very specific, minute detail of all of this. I want this video to be fast and quick for you to learn and get a good idea if you are a beginner looking to potentially get into shooting in manual. We're gonna take a look by starting at just looking at one of my cameras, my original first camera, my Canon T3. And these option wheels are going to be very similar, I would say, across whatever manufacturer, whatever build body that you've got, whether it be a Sony, a Nikon, Lumix, whatever that you have, that you're starting out with. But you have your multiple different auto modes and your choices here. And of course, there's the M, which is for your manual shooting modes. If you're shooting in auto, generally speaking, the auto is going to control the three main factors: your aperture, your ISO, and your shutter speed. And it's going to be left up to your camera's basically brain, so to speak, to make the best decisions based upon your input into whatever it's not controlling. So for example, if you're shooting in a auto mode with ISO, for example, like an ISO priority mode, like that type of setting, then whatever you input for your shutter speed control and aperture, your camera will make the decisions for the ISO based upon what inputs that you've placed into the camera. So it could go wonky in whole different ways. It's going to give you the image that it thinks that it needs to. The technology nowadays that's coming into newer camera bodies and newer productions of models of cameras, are integrating AI, and they're doing all of these great leaps and things. So there is some more intelligence as far as it's concerned with how cameras are going to be shooting in these auto settings, but still, manual is going to be your best choice for shooting. And I know it's a little daunting and might be a little scary to try to go into learning really all of the ins and outs of photography when it comes to shooting manually. But it's really not. It's really not as intimidating and as scary as it might seem to be to approach it. Because we only have our three settings, right? Which are our ISO, which is just the sensitivity to light that your sensor is being exposed to. So a higher number, more sensitive; lower number, less sensitive. Your aperture, which, if we can have a good demonstration here, I hope this will be in frame and in focus, but you see here your aperture, closing of the aperture. So that all happens in the lens. Right, so it's all the opening or closing of the aperture in the lens to allow light to get in to the camera body, into the sensor, for it to, expose or, darken the image. Lastly, you just have very simply your shutter speed, which is the duration of time that the camera's shutter will remain open to capture the image. The important thing to note is all of these three are interdependent of one another, and they interact based upon others. So for example, if you're shooting at a higher ISO, you're shooting in a low light environment, like shooting at night maybe or something, and it's a lower light environment, you're going to have a higher ISO, but you're also going to have to adjust your shutter speed accordingly, because you're going to then allowing the sensitivity to the light, and you don't want to have something where it becomes incredibly overexposed or conversely underexposed. So you have to kind of manipulate your shutter speed to allow for that and compensate for that sensitivity. And same thing with your aperture. You have to kind of adjust the aperture to kind of allow the most amount of light or not enough light, depending on the situation. If you're shooting in very bright conditions, low ISO, adjusting aperture a little bit. Also, again, adjusting your shutter speed. It's all interdependent. But what I'm saying is about this, the whole point of this video is to mention that shooting in manual is not as scary as the thing. That is really what is going to unlock your enjoyment for photography. Like, yes, pointing and clicking and shooting is fun, right? But if you want to be getting the most out of your images, learning how to shoot in manual is going to be your best bet, especially if you want to pursue it as an art form, or you want to pursue it even potentially as professionally one day, you're going to have to learn those ins and outs. And it really just comes with time. It comes with skill. It comes with practice. It comes with doing things wrong to begin with. It comes with doing things and shooting bad images for a while until you really kind of understand and get in the field and do it. That's what's so cool about photography, is that it's one of those things that you have to learn. But it's like any other skill. You're gonna fail, but it's gonna be okay. I can make videos in the future going into more detail about the real in-depth dives on what you need to do to manipulate the different factors independent of each other and shooting in different light conditions, if that would be something to be interested in down the road. If that might be helpful, I very well may make that video, but this is just my general initial video to say, stop shooting in auto modes. Get into shooting manual. It's gonna make your time so much more fun. It's gonna be such a better situation for you shooting in the long run. It's gonna really increase the joy that you get out of shooting and taking your own photos. If you like the video, guys, hit the like button. If you found it helpful, leave a comment, let me know. Give me suggestions of things that might be helpful for you as well. And we will see you in the next one.